other primates being granted human rights? And lastly, isn't art and aesthetics an evolved form or conduit to emotional affective responses that exist in our ancestors? Thank you.
Those are all really easy questions. So I'll let Steve. I'll let Steve deal with that.
Well, not all forms are transitional because some forms go extinct. I mean, without any progeny. In fact, as one evolutionary biologist put it, to an excellent first approximation, all species are extinct, by which he meant 99.9%. Remind me of the second one?
Let me grab the second one, if I may, because I think it's one of the most interesting sort of areas. Whenever we're talking about the humility that Darwinism should teach us, as well as the arrogance that it clearly has inculcated in us. When we're trying to, we go back and we think about Darwin and race, or we think about the 19th century, and one of the questions we always ask ourselves is, how is it fair to judge people of another time by the ethical standards of our own? And I'm always haunted by that question about primates and animal rights more generally. That is, I would not be at all surprised. In fact, I kind of, in the depths of my being, I strongly suspect that 200, 300, much less 500 years from now, our descendants will be as shocked and repulsed by the idea that we ate veal calves or animals as intelligent as pigs as we are when we think that the ancient Athenians, with all of their intellectual accomplishments, could lock women away in their houses and keep slaves. Ancient Athens was a slave society. That's a piece. Now, it doesn't stop me from being a carnivore, unfortunately, or maybe not. But I think it's a perfect example, the question of how rights should be extended to the animal creation, of how much moral uncertainty there is that lurks on the margins, even of our complacent everyday existence.
I agree.
Right. And the third question was about art.
Art and aesthetics, yes. And it's essentially since we're higher cognitive entities, that it's a conduit to the same base emotions that our ancestors had. It's just our art and aesthetics is a higher way that we emote or allow each other to experience that.
I mean, not just, because fiction makes you think, art makes you think. A number of emotions that humans have are probably very different from what you can find, at least in any surviving primate, because we've been separated from them for 6 million years and have probably evolved some emotional responses that you wouldn't find in the last common ancestor. So, in part, I mean, there are probably feelings of chills and beauty and so on, but there may be other both intellectual and emotional reactions to art that are uniquely human without contradicting a Darwinian approach.
I'd add only to that, and I think it's one area where Steve and I may disagree somewhat, even significantly, is that it could be that all art in some sense appeals to our basic libidinal desire for pleasure, and people who enjoy music you can't possibly begin to understand, and yet their description of their feelings when they hear it is exactly like your description of your feelings when you hear good music. And you don't... And so it's not that you actually claim to have a higher, more sophisticated notion. I have a wonderful little brother who's an art critic, and he genuinely loves video art. He feels about video art, his step quickens as he approaches the new museum, knowing that there will be a display of video art, and I'm utterly baffled. And yet I recognize in his affect, in his emotional tone, in his descriptions, when you say, what is it that you like about it? Exactly the emotions that I might have looking at Wayne Thiebaud or a realist painter of my weakness and tendencies. So that it might be that it is the same, that it is in some sense the same emotion. It's not a continuum where what you get out of it differs, but that it just is, it isn't as though art is like a key that opens a lock reliably, but that it's like one big temple with many rooms, and that there's a common perfume that wafts through the rooms, but the source of that perfume will forever be different. Where the incense gets burned will always change from time to time. I see that we are out of time. Speaking of time, thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Steve.